Gypsy, why didn't you just stand up and walk away?
Did you ever consider, in a public place, if you stood up out of your wheelchair and walked, Dee Dee's fraud would be completely exposed?
I honestly didn't think about that.
It never crossed your mind.
No.
So instead of planning an elaborate escape, you planned a murder.
Yes.
Did you hate your mother at that point?
I didn't hate her.
You wanted her dead.
Yes, but it was not because I hated her. It was because I wanted to escape her. The first time I ran away from home, I had met a friend. We both went to this sci-fi fantasy convention called VisionCon. I had told him vaguely about what was going on at home. And he told me, you just pack your stuff and you can come live with me in Arkansas. And I said, okay. I snuck out, got a ride from a stranger, and went over to his place, and then within like 4 hours, my mom found me at his place because we had mutual friends in common. So she was starting to call the cops on him. And she took me back home and smashed my computer with a hammer, smashed my cell phone with a hammer, and said, if you ever try to do that again, I'm gonna smash your fingers with a hammer. It was a rough year. I call that the bad times. She had taken this dog leash and clipped it to a pair of handcuffs and then clipped the handcuffs to the bed and it was like that for about 2 weeks. My mom had actually convinced a lawyer to draw up some papers saying that I was incompetent. So I thought if I had tried to go to the police, they'd look at these papers and say, she's retarded. She doesn't know what she's talking about.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
And for telling your story. I think it will help a lot of people.
Thank you.
The question, though, that I think a lot of people have, I don't have it, is this. Why didn't you try telling a family member or the police, maybe, that you weren't sick? Why resort to murder?
Well, I did try to run away, and I talk about this in the documentary. I talk about the first time that I tried to run away from home. Within 4 hours, I got as far as this outside of town. And within 4 hours, she brought me back to the home, chained me to the bed, left me there for 2 weeks. 2 weeks without a lot of food, water. I had to urinate on myself or in a bucket as she, held the chain. So, I was in the mindset of, I'm so afraid of her. I'm so afraid that if I reach out for help another time, it will be worse for me.
Killed Dee Dee back in June of 2015.
So I disagree with that.
But that abuse has nothing to do with Dee Dee's murder, according to prosecutor Dan Patterson, who just a little less than a month from Nicholas Godejohn's first day on trial argued the character of Dee Dee Blanchard should be withheld from the jury. He says even if Gypsy's mother was abusive, her aggression wasn't being shown at the time of her stabbing, and her character played no role in that night's violence.
Also keep in mind that Gypsy planned for over 2 years how she would end her mother's life with Nicholas's help. If Gypsy was so afraid of her mother, if Gypsy was so abused and so controlled, then why did she take over 2 years to plan her mother's demise? One reason might be she wanted to go to Disney World again in January 2015. Listen to some of the messages Gypsy wrote to her friend Alea in 2014. I also got rebaptized because I wanted to be saved after my little acting out in 2011. So I wear my purity ring as a symbol of my faith to God. Did you notice Gypsy didn't ever mention that after her little acting out in 2011, her mother chained her to a bed for 2 weeks? Her mother smashed her computer and smashed her phone? Did she ever once ask Alea for help to get away from her mother? Not once. Instead, she told Alea that she was doing great. Anyways, my health has been stable. They found out I have a chromosome deletion. That's why all the medical issues. But I'm a fighter. I'll be okay. My mom's health has gotten worse over the years. She's got diabetes, heart problems, glaucoma, affects eye vision, liver disease, kidney failure, and Parkinson's disease. So she's trying to still keep up, but we had to stop doing the newsletter, and we have only had 3 movie nights this year and only 1 last year. She just had kidney surgery for kidney stone removal. She's getting better from that. As far as adventures, we went to Disney World and Universal Studios in 2012. It was awesome. Then in 2013 went to Cape Cod, Massachusetts, because I was nominated and won 5 awards for being a positive role model for children with medical issues, and I'm still doing public speaking. I love it. Let's see, and the best news, Mom and I are going to Disney World again in January. But guess what? We are also going to the Harry Potter park at, get this, the same time the Harry Potter celebration will be going on. I will be having dinner with actors from the cast. With all the sickness and diseases Gypsy listed just a little while before, she doesn't seem the least bit concerned that maybe her mother wouldn't be up to a trip to Disney World and pushing Gypsy's wheelchair all over the 27-acre park. Her mother's health didn't matter to Gypsy at all. But the other thing is, how could her mother attack Gypsy or keep her chained in the house if she was this sick? You could have easily walked away and taken a bus to go live with Nick. Or taken off to go live with Dan. Even go live with your dad who was back in Louisiana. But you didn't.
Your mother controlled so much. Many people just can't understand why you didn't just get up and walk out of that wheelchair. You weren't sick.
It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical. All these reasons combined together is what prevented me from just walking out of that situation.
Give us a sense of the fear that you felt.
I feared more than anything that if I ran away, that things would be worse for me at home.
Worse for you? Worse than having trips to Cape Cod, Universal Studios, and Disney World? Worse than having everything done for you? Your mother spoiled you, and I don't believe for 1 minute she chained you to the bed with a dog leash and handcuffs. If she was going to do that, I would think she would have done all that when you shot her with the BB gun. But for whatever reason, probably her fear of you, she let that one go.
And like the one thing that people always ask me is, why didn't you just stand up? Why didn't you just
call the police?
Call the police and this, that, and the other.
And did you tell your dad?
I didn't, because I didn't even know his phone number.
Yeah.
Since you often used your mother's cell phone, by your own admission, Gypsy, it's hard for me to believe you couldn't find your dad's phone number if you had tried.
Yeah.
My mom literally had put a block on our relationship from him and I, and she created a fake Facebook account as me talking to him. Now,
so what you're saying is, when you sent all those inappropriate pictures to your own dad on Facebook, that wasn't you, but your mother. Also hard to believe, Gypsy.
Now looking back on it, I'm like, I could have done things a lot differently, and it would have ended with my mother being in prison. Did she deserve prison? Yes.
Think of all the lives you wouldn't have destroyed or ended if you had just stood up instead of planned your mother's brutal attack. There was no reason for it, and even your life was ruined because of your choices. All you had to do was stand up and walk away.
Did you ever consider, in a public place, if you stood up out of your wheelchair and walked, Dee Dee's fraud would be completely exposed?
I honestly didn't think about that.
It never crossed your mind?
No.